You also run the risk of drying out the base of your skis if you don't wax them, which will prevent them from Hey guys, Chris here at Backcountry Gearhead. Today, I'm gonna run you through the detailed steps of sharpening your edges and waxing your skis, keeping your equipment at tip-top shape for the season. All right, let's talk through what you're gonna need to accomplish a fresh tune. Step one, grab some vices. Or if you're at home, a stack of books or a 2x4, whatever's gonna get your bindings off the table and allow you to work on the base of your ski. Next, we'll go into sharpening. You'll need a gummy stone, a sharpener, and before that, something to clean your edges off, like a rag and some alcohol. Next, we'll get into waxing. To wax your skis, you'll need a hot iron with temp adjustments. Don't use your clothing iron at home, it could damage your bases. A wax of choice, we like universal, so you're ready for all conditions. A scraper, and then a brush. So first, why tune your skis? Reason being, you need speed and you need control. If you have dull, rusty edges, you're not gonna be able to stop or carve like you need to. And if your bases aren't hydrated with wax, you're not gonna have any speed. And who likes going slow? So to choose the right tools for the job, it can be a little bit overwhelming. There's different types of brushes, there's different type of sharpeners, there's different gummy stones, but we're here to make it a little bit simpler for you. So in terms of sharpeners, there's a few different styles. If you're a racer, you might need a nice fine diamond stone to allow you to get the precise edge you're looking for on the race course. For the average all-mountain rider, we recommend a simple sharpener like this Swick sharpener. Next, there's a few different types of gummy stones. Firm or soft. What these do is remove burrs and rust from your edges. If your edges are in okay shape and you just need to remove a little bit of rust and debris, a nice soft stone. If you have some big burrs that you need to get rid of, grab a firmer one. When choosing a brush, it's important to make sure you get one that's right for you. There's a few different styles. If you're using a super cold wax, it's gonna be hard to brush all that wax off, so you might need something stiffer like a wire brush. Most of the time, I use a half wire, half horsehair brush, or if you're using a warm wax, you can get away with just a horsehair brush. This process also works for snowboards. We just recommend a little bit bigger of a scraper, something that's longer and can scrape the whole width of your board, and a bigger vise like this one. All in all, this process should only take about 20 to 40 minutes depending on your ability level. First, I like to start with a little bit of alcohol or water on a rag. This allows you to prevent there being any unwanted debris on the base before you start with your gummy stone. Next, let's dive into your gummy stone. This removes rust and unwanted burrs from the base so you don't damage your diamond stone. Start from the tip to tail. You can go back and forth with this and it'll allow you to completely remove all the rust and burrs from the base to allow for a clean tuning edge. Do this on both base sides before going to the edges. Now that I've scraped all the rust away, I'm gonna do the same on the side edge. You can use a brisk motion. This is a soft gummy stone. You can also use a firm gummy stone if you come across a burr. These edges mostly just have rust, and I don't think that I'll need this firm one. Cool, once that side is done, let's flip the ski over. Make sure you're working from tip to tail, and remove all those burrs and all that rust. Cool, these are looking pretty good. Similar to the gummy stone, we're gonna work tip to tail with this sharpener. This sharpener is from Swick's. It's no race sharpener, but it's an awesome at-home, easy sharpener to allow you to do a quick tune before you hit the slopes. This one has a couple different degrees, but we're just gonna do a 0 degree on the base and a 1 degree on the side. I'm gonna start from tip to tail, just like the gummy stone. The nice thing is the gummy stone got all the burrs and debris out of the way, so this will be a super smooth and easy work surface. It can be a little bit annoying with the brakes, but I like to pull the brake back with my hand. The rubber band helps a lot, but with a sharpener like this, it can still be a little bit big and the brakes get in the way. I like to run tip to tail about 3 to 4 times using firm pressure before I move to the other side. Now do the same thing on the other side. The first run will always be the roughest. Then it should get smoother as you go. Like the other side, do this about 3 to 4 times to ensure a nice sharp base before moving on to the side edge. Like I said, this is not a race tune, but it's a super quick and easy way to get your edges in a bit of a better shape before hitting the slopes, especially out east where there's a bit more ice. You don't really need to tune your edges very, very often, but if you're hitting rocks, going in the backcountry, scraping up your edges, I recommend tuning maybe once a month, unless there's a big impact that you need to rub away with the gummy stone and then hit with the sharpener again. Once I do this, always clean the base to get that metal shaving and debris away. Now, same thing on the side edge. Repeat down the ski tip to tail 4 or 5 times with firm pressure to ensure a sharp base. So the more laps you do, it's easier to move the sharpener down the ski. Until it's a super smooth gliding surface, keep going. So before we move to waxing, let's do a quick inspection. Grab that rag, clean the edges off again, and a quick pro tip to see if your edges are sharp, rub your fingernail along the edge. If fingernail residue comes off, it's probably nice and sharp. You'll also see a very clean, fresh, shiny steel edge. A quick step I always do between sharpening my edges and waxing my base is checking the condition of my base to see if I need any Ptex. Ptex are small sticks of base material that allow you to fill any core shots that you may have gotten out on the slopes from rocks or roots. One way to tell if you need Ptex is if the hole is a little bit bigger than a nickel. In that case, grab a lighter, grab some Ptex, and melt it up, dripping it into the hole to create a fill in that surface. These skis don't need any Ptex. The bases are in okay shape, but if you want to learn more about the Ptex process, leave a comment below and we can definitely make a video about that. Sweet, so now that our edges are nice and sharp and ready to rip all over the mountain, let's talk about waxing. Step 1, turn your iron on. I like to start with about 100 degrees, let it warm up while I choose the wax I'm going to wax with. For wax, it really depends on where you are and the temperatures that you're going to be skiing in. If you're out east or in the northwest and it's a super cold day, go with some blue wax. This is for those low teens negative temps. For the mid-teens, low 20s, a red wax will do great, but if you're ripping spring park laps at Mount Hood, grab some yellow wax. But today, we're just going to use universal because I only wax my skis 2 to 3 times a year, and personally, I like to know that they're always going to be fast no matter the condition. A universal wax allows that to happen. Now that our iron is warmed up, I'm going to show you the step-by-step process of how to wax your skis. I usually like to crayon the base of the skis and drip from tip to tail. So typically I'll take my wax and I'll apply it to the base of the iron to warm it up. This allows you to draw onto the base of the ski like a crayon. The reason I do this is for even coverage of wax on the base of the skis. So you don't want to overdo it. Overdoing and putting too much wax on your base will make wax run all over your table and all over the floor while you're heating up the base of your ski. So be pretty quick about this step. I'll usually go back and cover the areas that I missed before going into a tip to tail wax. I'll move the iron in circular motions to evenly heat up all the wax to start penetrating those pores and allow the wax to soak in. So for this step, move pretty briskly. As you see the wax starting to melt, just keep moving forward. I'll also attach an extension cord to my iron to allow me to get from tip to tail without potentially pulling the plug out of the wall. I'll do this step one more time, making sure everything is evenly distributed before I start moving in full tip to tail motions. I notice I need to turn my iron up a little bit. The wax isn't melting as quickly as I'd like to. Now's the time to check in on your temp. Now, moving from tip to tail at a pretty steady, not too fast, not too slow motion, I'll melt the wax into the base of the ski. To prevent your iron from damaging the base of your skis, you want to keep a pretty solid movement going from tip to tail as you wax the bases. This is the speed I like to operate at. You can see the wax melting behind the iron as I move across the base of the ski, evenly spreading the wax into the base. I usually repeat this step 6 to 8 times until the base is completely saturated and heated up fully. You can tell that the base of the ski is starting to stay shiny for a longer amount of time the more it heats up. So once the base of the ski stays shiny, we know that we're ready to move on to the next ski. So a quick thing to remember, never leave the iron in one spot for more than a second or two. This could risk damaging the base of your ski and preventing wax from being absorbed inside of it in the future. All right, the best way to tell if your skis are ready to be scraped is if the bases have cooled fully. They don't need to be completely room temperature, but feel the base of the skis and the top sheet. If it's still pretty warm, give it another minute or two. Just like waxing and sharpening your edges, you always want to start tip to tail when scraping. Step 1, grab that scraper, make sure it's sharp, and run with even pressure from tip to tail. I like to go in even strokes to ensure that all the wax is being removed from the base. Make sure you apply even pressure. I like to go in pretty firm strokes to make sure all the wax is removed. So you can see at the beginning, big chunks of wax were coming off when we were scraping. Repeat this process continuously until only small little shavings are coming off. This step ensures that you've removed as much wax as you can before getting into the brush. As you're going through this process, make sure you're scraping the ski evenly from the left side to the center to the right, continuously moving down the ski with even pressure. All right, as you can see, not a whole lot's coming off anymore. I think we're ready to brush. Brushing is the second to last step in the scraping process. Apply even pressure, brushing from tip to tail to get a nice smooth surface and remove the rest of the wax. I usually like to go tip to tail 3 to 4 times. Once I'm done with that, I'll go to my scraper, turn it up on the edges, make sure I get excess wax off the edges on both sides. So to ensure a clean surface, the last step of waxing your skis is to grab a rag with some alcohol on it and brush from tip to tail to remove all final fragments and create a super clean surface. Now that we've talked about the continuous maintenance throughout the season, let's talk about summer storage. We like to do a nice thick wax coating to protect your bases throughout storage and the heat in the summer months. Also, come October and November when you're ready to ski again, give your skis a quick scrape and they're ready to rip and in great shape for that upcoming season. All right guys, well I hope you learned a little bit today. Tuning your skis is a pretty easy and simple thing to keep your skis ripping at tip-top shape all season, and it happens to be one of our favorite beer drinking activities with our friends on a Friday night. If you like this video, like and subscribe. It helps us pump out more tech talks for you. Got any questions? Hit us in the comments. Or reach out to a Gearhead online or on our chat feature at backcountry.com 24/7.